Jim Carrey just set the internet ablaze, showing up to the 2026 César Awards in Paris looking completely unrecognizable. Look at the hair, look at the jawline, and even the eye color. The change is so drastic that the comment sections are already convinced the real Jim Carrey is gone. They're saying he was swapped out for a copy after speaking out against the industry, disposed of and replaced by a vessel that looks and acts nothing like the man we knew. But is this what's really going on? Or is there a much darker explanation for this? What I've discovered suggests that while the body might be the same, the man inside has undergone a deep mythical transformation that is literally rewriting his biology. Today, we're revealing the truth behind Jim Carrey's transformation, and by the end of this, you will never see him the same way again.
They're all characters that I've played, including Jim Carrey, including Joe Barish, including any of those things. They're all characters. Jim Carrey was a less intentional character because I thought it was just building something that people would like. But he was a character.
There's no meaning to any of this, so I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am. What do you believe in icons? I believe in personalities. I believe that you exist.
Because there is no me, no self. Jim Carrey is gone, actually never existed, and I know that now.
For the last decade, we've watched Jim Carrey spiral into what many called madness, showing up to red carpets claiming Jim Carrey didn't exist, making strange hand gestures on Kimmel while jokingly suggesting everyone in Hollywood belongs to a secret club. Most people saw this as Carrey being wild or eccentric, but a huge part of the internet saw something else. They saw a man turning his back on the industry and exposing its secrets. But let's be real, if Carrey was truly exposing anything, would he still be the face of a billion-dollar franchise like Sonic the Hedgehog? Hollywood doesn't reward exposure with leading roles. They reward it with a permanent blackball. The truth is actually much stranger. In reality, Carrey isn't exposing the industry, he's revealing his own deep involvement in its most hidden practices. Those unusual behaviors everyone has witnessed, they weren't a rebellious movement. They were a part of the physical transformation we saw in Paris. And I'm not just talking about plastic surgery or fillers. I'm talking about a secret esoteric practice that Jim Carrey himself admitted to practicing. I want to warn you, some of this stuff is going to sound unbelievable. That's why I suggest you stick around to the very end and hear the full story before you flat out reject it. There is no way you can deny that Jim Carrey has gone through a complete facial transformation. If we compare his current face to just a few years back, the inconsistencies are jarring. First, the bone structure. His cheekbones appear much higher and wider, creating that puffy or pillowy effect that was nowhere to be seen in 2024. His jawline, once rugged and chiseled, now looks feminized. The transition from his ear to his chin is smoother, less aggressive, and almost porcelain. Then we have to talk about his eyes. Carrey has famously dark, prominent brown eyes, but in the 2026 Paris footage, they appear light hazel, gray, or even green under the stage light. Combine that with his shoulder-length jet black hair and his sudden ability to deliver a 14-minute speech in fluent French, and you have a man that claims to be Jim Carrey, but physically is unrecognizable. Now the skeptics will say it's just Botox and fillers. They'll just say he just bought new contacts and a bottle of hair dye. This wasn't random nonsense, it was actually a clue to decoding all of this. To understand what's really happening, we have to go back to when his death actually started, and the secret esoteric practice Jim admitted he was deeply involved in. Jim Carrey has openly admitted to being deep into the esoteric side of Gnosticism. Now, many people hear him talk about Jesus and assume he's following modern religion.
You made the decision to walk through the gate of forgiveness to grace, just as Christ did on the cross. He suffered terribly, and he was broken by it.
But they're wrong. Carrey is into an ancient esoteric form of Christianity that goes back centuries. The core of this belief is that a human can become a transcendental perfected being through a process called the Great Work. And Jim didn't just study this, he admitted to practicing the most secretive part of it, the sacred secretion. In a rare interview, Jim describes a monthly psychological process where a seed, an internal oil called the chrism, is released from the brain and travels down the spine. The goal of this is to save this energy through voluntary abstinence and specific tantra techniques. If you don't waste this power, it returns to the pineal gland, decalcifying the third eye and literally recharging the biological body.
About alchemical sexual alchemy. Do you know this? Do you know that the story Jesus, how it's been altered in certain ways? I mean, yes, there's a guy, yes, there's teachings, all that stuff, but there's 33 vertebrates in your spine. There's 33 years in the life of Jesus. Okay, there is a substance or liquid or a substance that comes from your medulla, which is basically completely looks like the has angel's wings around it, the whole thing, a little shape. Now, is this one? So this substance comes from your medulla, makes the trip down your spine to your sacrum, which is Christ coming down into human form. And if you don't squander that essence, that sexual essence, it ascends again and goes back up to heaven, which is your thing. It's also the story of Santa Claus. What comes down the chimney is because this juice or this whatever substance actually passes what's called the claustrum, is where they got Santa Claus. So it goes down the chimney and back up. I think he probably saved it, so you can be clear, so you can be sharp. Actually, what Gnosticism is really about.
People who believe in this biological alchemy claim it produces 3 undeniable physical results: skin rejuvenation, a waxy porcelain glow, eye vitality, a change in the fire or even the literal color of the iris, and cellular youth, a total reversal of the aging process. Jim Carrey admitted to this process himself, and this is exactly why his 2026 look is so jarring. By balancing his internal masculine and feminine energies, he has physically manifested the divine androgyne, a state where the hard, jagged edges of manhood melt away into something much more fluid, serene, and unrecognizable. To understand why Jim looks the way he does now, you have to look at the last decade of his life through the lens of Gnosticism. He has been performing a 3-step occult ceremony, the magnum opus, right in front of your eyes. Most people see a midlife crisis. I see a man meticulously following an alchemic blueprint for transformation. Stage 1 was the Negrado, the blackening. This is the rotting of the ego. In 2015, the silly, cheerful Jim Carrey died. He grew that heavy gray beard and told E! News, "There is no me. We're just a cluster of tetrahedrons moving together." He looked haggard and dark because the lead of his old life was being burned away. Stage 2 was the albedo, the whitening. The ego is dead, so the vessel must be washed. During this period, Jim retreated into his arts, talking about Christ consciousness and integration. This is when his face started to change. The jagged masculine lines began to soften as he integrated what Gnostics called the anima, the internal feminine. The rebuto, also known as the reddening, which is a stage of rebirth. The man who stepped onto that stage in Paris is the rebus, the divine androgen. This is why his features are unrecognizable. He has traded a rugged masculine structure for a luminous feminized look. Now, is this all plastic surgeries and colored contacts? It's likely. In fact, I think most of it is. But here's the reality. I believe he got those surgeries because he truly believes he has reached enlightenment. He wants his physical face to reflect the perfected vessel he thinks he's become. To the world, it looks like a cult mumbo jumbo. But to Jim, he's been telling us exactly what he's been doing for 10 years. He wasn't silenced. And he wasn't replaced by a copy. He replaced himself. If you look across Hollywood in 2026, Carrey isn't the only one softening. We are seeing a massive wave of high-level men in the industry adopting this androgynous aesthetic. They tell you it's fashion. They tell you it's breaking gender norms. But in the world of the occult, it's about power. By merging the masculine and feminine, they believe they're tapping into a primordial energy that the average person can't access. They aren't trying to be women, they're trying to be gods. Carrey, like many others, have been narrating this process right in front of us. This enlightenment comes with a price. To achieve the great work, you have to sacrifice your humanity. You become unrecognizable to the people who loved you. Jim Carrey was never against the industry. He was deeply involved in the industry's religion. When Carrey showed up to Kimmel making those triangle hand gestures and telling everyone the game is up.
So you don't know what's really going on.
He wasn't calling out Hollywood. He was admitting his participation. Look at his hands again. In Gnosticism, the eye in the triangle isn't just an occult symbol. It's the pineal gland, the very organ Jim says is being recharged by the sacred secretion. He wasn't mocking a secret club. He was mocking you for not seeing what was right in front of you. He was pretty much telling us he was a part of it too. Now fast forward to the Paris Awards show. Jim Carrey steps onto that stage looking like a complete different person. Out of nowhere, he began speaking fluent French. While everyone was focused on his appearance, they didn't realize what he was saying is what truly mattered. He told the audience that his ancestor was a square, but tonight, he was coming full circle. This is the oldest alchemic riddle in history, squaring the circle. It means the physical, the square, has finally been merged with the spiritual. And if you look at the symbol for the great work, you understand what he means by this. He's telling those who know the code that his great work is finished. The fact that he looks feminine or soft is simply the byproduct of the great work. What's truly interesting is that one of Jim Carrey's first big movies, The Truman Show, predicted all of this years ago. While The Truman Show seems to be a movie about a man finding out his whole life is a lie, designed for a reality show, in reality, the movie is a full Gnostic story. The whole movie was meant to represent Truman's Gnostic awakening, finding out that his life is a lie, and through the practices of Gnosticism, he was going to free himself from the Matrix. I won't go too deep into this here, but maybe a deep dive on The Truman Show would be a good video. If you want to see that, comment The Truman Show below, and if enough of you want to see that, I'll make sure that's the next video. At the 2026 César Awards, Jim told us the square has come full circle. Whether you believe he's achieved complete spiritual ascension through the sacred secretion, or he's just a man who lost himself in symbolism, one thing is undeniable: the Jim Carrey we grew up with is gone. I want to know what you think below. Is this just plastic surgery, or did Jim Carrey go too deep into the esoteric that he lost himself? One thing is for sure, these celebrities are obsessed with immortality. If you want to see how the new TV show The Beauty revealed the elite's plan to live forever, make sure you watch this video on The Beauty right now. For those interested in videos where I go a step deeper into this evil system, make sure to check out my latest Patreon exclusive. In that video, I uncovered the darkest revelations from the recent documents yet. If you're one of my members, make sure to check it out when you can. The link would be in the description. And if you like unfiltered videos that reveal the truth, make sure to like this video and subscribe to join the truth movement. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.